There are loads of YouTube growth videos out there which are going to give you loads of tips and tricks for how you can grow on YouTube. I should know, I filmed a lot of them. The truth is though, if you're feeling overwhelmed by all of that information, if you avoid making a few key mistakes on YouTube, that could be enough to really supercharge your growth. So instead of overwhelming you with growth tips today, I'm going to give you the top most common mistakes that you might be making on YouTube so that all you have to do is avoid making these mistakes in the future. This video is brought to you by Uscreen, more on them later. Okay, so the first mistake, I'm just gonna go straight in. I'm gonna rip the band-aid off. I'm gonna start with a big one. The first mistake is that you may not understand how YouTube's algorithm works right now. And there's an emphasis on the words right now because the algorithm has changed quite a lot over the past like 10 to 12 years. I'm gonna break down the changes so that we can both have a clear understanding of where the algorithm is currently at, okay? When you understand how social media algorithms work, it becomes a lot easier for you to create content that actually ranks well on them. So let's break it back to the year 2011. What a beautiful year that was. Gosh, I was so young, had so much life. In the year 2011, YouTube's algorithm looked a bit different. It was during this time where the algorithm was completely focused on clicks and views. So this was the era of like real clickbaity thumbnails. I don't know if you guys remember those, where people would have thumbnails that literally had nothing to do with the actual video content, right? That was the time of clickbaity thumbnails. If we fast forward to 2012, the algorithm changed to focus on watch time. So essentially the key signal that YouTube's algorithm was looking at was how much time people were spending watching different pieces of content. Now, a lot of us think that that's still where the algorithm is, but it's actually become a lot more sophisticated now. So if we fast forward to 2015, which is when YouTube were like, okay, we've nailed it. It hasn't changed much since then, apart from on a really micro level. And to be honest, all algorithms change on a micro level. So that's nothing to be concerned about. So the big change, what happened to the algorithm in 2015 was that it moved from focusing on watch hours to focusing on satisfaction. You might be wondering, how on earth does YouTube know if someone watches something and they're like, yes, satisfied, right? There's a few different signals that they now look at to figure out whether or not someone was satisfied with your content. So even things from asking people, like, have you ever seen those YouTube surveys that pop up when you're watching a lot of content? That is one of the signals that they look at. But they also look at a variety of other signals that we've seen in the past. For example, clicks and thumbnails, still super important. They're not the only important thing now, but they are still one of the signals that they're looking at. YouTube is going to look at how many clicks your video gets because that is a clear sign that the people who saw your thumbnail and your title were satisfied with it. They're going to look at how much of your content they're watching because, again, a clear sign that people are satisfied with your content if they continue to watch it. They're going to look at how many comments and likes your content is getting because, again, those are signals that the person watching is satisfied. So I'm going to throw in right now that if you're satisfied so far, go ahead and hit that like button because that really helps me out. So what does this mean for you and I? What it means is that all of these signals that I just mentioned, the amount of clicks your videos are getting, how much of your video people are watching, your comments, your likes, right? These are all signals that YouTube are looking at to try and figure out if someone has been satisfied by your video. So now that we understand how YouTube's algorithm works, I can rest assured that you'll no longer make the mistake of not understanding how it works. So we can just move on to the next mistake. The next mistake is not understanding your success factors. Now, I have to admit a couple things I need to admit here. First of all, this whole concept is not mine. I'm going to find the video. I'm going to really try hard to find this video because I know I saw it years ago where the creator was talking about this whole concept. I'm going to find it. I'm going to link it below. The other thing I need to flag is that I made up the name success factors for it because I like to make up names for things. So this isn't anything official by any means. What this concept is the idea that there's 3 success factors that we can choose from for our YouTube channel. And they basically make a triangle, right? So at the top, you've got value. Down here, you've got personality. And on the other side of the triangle, you've got editing. So the idea here is that you have to keep the triangle balanced, which means you have to pick 2 points for you to focus on and rest on and rely on, because that is how a triangle remains balanced and upright. So my question to you is, what 2 points are you going to focus on? Are you going to decide that your content is going to be absolutely steeped in value and have incredible editing? Or maybe your content is going to have loads of personality in it and have loads of value? It doesn't quite matter which ones you pick. You just got to pick 2. And even more importantly than that, you have to really dial those 2 things up. So this isn't just talking about like a base layer of good editing. Everyone needs like an absolute basic level of editing, right? We should all be sharing our personality to some extent because it helps us stand out from others. We should all be sharing content that is valuable in some way. So we have to be hitting all three already. The question is, which two are you going to focus on? Like, which ones are you going to dial up? Can you guys guess which ones mine are? Let me know in the comments. Guess in the comments. Which two out of those three do you think I focused on from day one of my YouTube channel back in November 2020? Let me know. And a reminder of the value points is personality, value, and editing. Okay, guys, so I'm really proud of our progress so far. So I think it's time for me to talk about Uscreen, because now that I know that you're not going to be making some of these mistakes, you're probably going to start to see a lot of growth on your YouTube channel. And something that a lot of YouTubers should be taking advantage of is actually creating their own video membership site, which will allow them to unlock recurring revenue for your business. So this is why I want to talk about Uscreen. Uscreen is an all-in-one video membership platform for content creators just like you and I. With Uscreen, you can create your own paid memberships, which include an on-demand video library, live streaming capabilities, and your own community, all hosted in one space. The best part is that this membership experience could be delivered to your audience through a variety of ways, whether it's through a website, a mobile app, and even a TV application. So how does it work? Essentially, you collate your best, most premium video content and you house it over your own website that you're able to design and create with ease using Uscreen. In terms of the mobile application, because I know that's something that you guys will be interested in, because when I realized they did this, I was like, shut up, that's insane. As you can imagine, having your own mobile application gives you prime real estate when it comes to how you're able to communicate and bond with your audience and community. Not only that, but it also allows you to do things like send push notifications to your audience so that you increase the chances of your audience being aware of when you've uploaded a new video or a new post or anything like that. Essentially, your audience will be able to carry you in their pocket and go about their day. Let's talk about their built-in community hub, because this feature allows you to blend your video content with your community seamlessly. So you can do things like create public and private channels, challenges, and the ability for your audience to post their own video content. Uscreen also gives you access to marketing and sales tools to really ensure that you get the word out about your membership. You could do things like create coupon codes, gift cards, free trials, landing pages, like anything you need to get the word out, you'll be able to do so using Uscreen. And one of my favorite parts is that you're essentially able to own your audience, okay? Big focus on the fact that I'm doing this. What I mean by own your audience is that you will have the ability to contact your audience, because you will have their email addresses and stuff like that. You'll be able to contact your audience in a way that is a direct communication channel, and you won't have to worry about things like pesky algorithms. So if you're looking to unlock recurring revenue for your business, so you want to create something where you can earn a stable income every single month, a predictable income, which will allow you to have more control of your finances. Or maybe you are just super drawn to the idea of creating your own video membership site, which looks something like Netflix, right? It's like the Netflix of your content. If you want to do any of these things or make use of any of the features that I just broke down to you, be sure to head to uscreen.tv. I will also put a link in my description. Cool. Should we move on to the next mistake? This one is close to my heart because this is like, I mean, it's not complex, but people think it's complex, but it is game changing. And this mistake is not understanding which analytics to focus on, especially if you're in the early stages or the growth stages of your channel. So to make things easier, I'm just going to give you a beginner's guide, right? These are the top 3 analytics or metrics, shall we call them, that I think you should be focusing on if you are in a phase where you're trying to grow your channel. The first is your impressions. Now, your impressions are quite literally the number of times your video appeared on someone's screen. For example, you open up YouTube and you see a bunch of videos and a bunch of thumbnails. All of those videos that you've just seen have just gained an impression because their video has been shown to you, right? This isn't views. This isn't the amount of people who clicked and then actually viewed part of your video. This is simply the amount of people who saw your video appear, right? The reason why I want you to focus on this metric when you're trying to grow is because the amount of impressions that your content receives is a clear indication as to whether your content is appearing when people are searching for videos on YouTube, or whether YouTube is pushing your content out to appear on other people's homepages. This is important because if no one sees your video, you're going to really struggle to get people to click on it. Like if people aren't seeing it, what are they clicking on? So that's why it's one of the first things to be aware of. And what you basically want to aim for is your average impressions going up every month. I can't give you an exact number because it's going to depend on where you are on your journey, but you want your impressions, if you're trying to grow, to be going up every single month, right? If you are in the early stages, that increase month by month is really important. If you're further along in your journey and you get a lot of impressions already, it could be okay for you to stay stagnant at that amount. You don't want your impressions to be dropping month by month though, because that's a sign that fewer people are seeing your video content content, which is not going to help you grow. Your next metric is your click-through rate, also known as your CTR. This is important because this is a percentage of people who are seeing your video content and deciding to click on your thumbnail or your title to watch your video. Now, this percentage is a clear indication as to whether your thumbnails or your titles are good. To put it simply, are your thumbnails and your titles engaging? Are they easy to read? Are people seeing them and thinking, yeah, that video looks like a bit of me? And if they are, then they're going to click, which means you're going to have a healthy click-through rate. Again, I cannot confirm what your click-through rate should be because when you have a higher amount of impressions, your click-through rate will be smaller. So for example, at the moment, in the last 28 days, my channel received 2.7 million impressions. My average click-through rate was 4.7%. That's like okay, that's like average for me, that's medium. My channel's doing well when it's above 5%. Anything below 4% is like a problem, right? Now, when I first started out though, my click-through rate was like 6% or 7% because my videos were getting significantly fewer impressions. So the chances of the people who are seeing my videos to click on them are actually a lot higher because the amount of people who are seeing them is smaller. I hope that makes sense. All of that to say that if I had to tell you what you should be aiming for, I personally think when your channel is under 1,000, you want to be aiming for 5% plus for your click-through rate. And then as you grow, that might dip a bit. But that is a good starting point for you. For most channels, if it's under 4%, then you probably want to look at your thumbnails or your titles. Last, but certainly not least, your retention. This is one of my favorite things to look at. Retention is basically referring to how much of your video someone watched. Now, if we think back to one of the first mistakes about not understanding the algorithm, we know that YouTube will look at your retention. YouTube wants to know that someone's going to click on your video and they're going to watch a good chunk of it, right? So what you want to do is you want to head to your analytics. I'll obviously put a screen recording up, but you want to head to your analytics and you want to look at your retention. Now, the thing is with this stat is YouTube is going to tell you how long on average someone watches your videos for. And mine is like 5 minutes, around that. And that works for me because my videos on average are about 10 minutes long. So I'm getting about 50% retention, which is actually pretty good. A lot of people make the mistake of starting their journey and expecting to get like 80 to 100% retention, which is actually super unheard of. So don't stress if you don't have that. Now, the thing is that 5 minutes for me is good, but if you create video essays and they're an hour long, 5 minutes would be bad. So look at that number and just put it into context of your own channels and how long your content usually is. I'm going to link to a bunch of videos below where I dive into things like thumbnails and all that kind of stuff in a lot more detail in case you want to continue learning. Okay, next mistake is a real easy one not to make. And this mistake is focusing on your kit rather than your content. So what a lot of people do is they think, okay, in order for my channel to do better, I need to spend thousands of pounds on a new camera or on new lighting or a new microphone. And in reality, that is not going to be the thing that makes a difference for your channel. The thing that will move the needle for your channel will be the content. And when you get to a place where you feel like you've really got the content to a great position and you're now ready to invest in your kit, that is probably going to be when you start to see a result from having better kit because you've already nailed your content, right? So we want to focus on your content first. And I always use this example, but I used to use my old phone to record my YouTube videos for ages. I can never remember how long I did it for, between like 8 months to a year. And if you want to see, go back to my old videos. I'm not even looking at the camera lens and I'm using my old phone, which I will say the camera quality was genuinely better than most cameras I use now, but I was using my old phone and I was totally fine. I had a ring light. You don't even need one though. You can just use natural light. And if you do need a microphone, if you're struggling for that, I used to use a £10 lapel mic from Amazon. Again, I'll put some links below, but all of that to say, you don't need fancy kit. Last but not least, and obviously this one was going to be a mistake. I mean, how could I do this whole video and not mention this mistake? It's a very common mistake. Not using YouTube Shorts. I know. People say it all the time. You need to create short form content, blah, blah, blah. But look, if everyone's telling you to do something, I was about to say, if everyone's telling you to do something, then you should probably do it. And then I thought about things like peer pressure and I thought maybe that's not my best advice to give. What I'm trying to say is if a lot of people are telling you that YouTube Shorts are helping them grow, then maybe we should start to believe them. I met a few creators recently who had literally gained hundreds of thousands of subscribers from their YouTube Shorts. Hundreds of thousands, some of them millions. Just from their YouTube Shorts, guys. The thing about YouTube Shorts is a good YouTube Short has the ability to reach thousands of people, even if you do not have a big audience. I recently uploaded a whole video about YouTube Shorts hacks, so you're in luck. If you're thinking, I don't know how to use them though, don't stress. I'm gonna link to it up here so that you can watch that video and get a bit more info. But for now, the mistake that I wanna flag is quite simply not utilizing them. They are a great feature to help you get more views and eyeballs on your content. We should all be posting multiple shorts per week. I said it. All right, guys, I hope you found this useful. Do not forget to head to uscreen.tv if you are ready to create your own video membership site. If you feel like hanging around, check out all the videos that I've linked below, but also you might want to check out this one. This is my recent trends video where I speak directly to the YouTube trends team and they give me the lowdown on what is trending on YouTube so that you can utilize those trends to get more views. Thanks so much for watching as always. Can't wait to see you in my next video.